So that's why your risk benefit profile and your safety profile is so important. But in the muscular dystrophy space, if you look at the gene therapies that Sarepta brought forward, and then the oligonucleotides with NS Pharma and others, they're doing, a reasonably good job on skeletal muscle. But what they're not affecting is cardiac muscle. And considering that the leading cause of death, like with my niece, was cardiac failure, if you don't support the cardiac muscle, are you really extending lifespan? In fact, there's one theory that says that if you really regenerate skeletal without cardiac, you might shorten lifespan because you're stressing the cardiac muscle. That's just a theory, and it sounds very, very negative, but it's something to think about. So I'm getting some real traction lately as people are starting to wake up in the muscular dystrophy community and say, hey, listen, the Sarcomatrix compounds do a very good job on maintaining cardiac function and cardiac muscle. And whether used alone or in combination, there's a critical need for them. And I think that's what I really like about the program is if we, and we'll price it right so that we deliver reasonable returns to the investors, and then, price it so that it's affordable in the marketplace. I suspect that, insurers will encourage, first line use, or it can be used in combination too. And I'd like to price it so that it's reasonable to be used in combination for that very important reason of skeletal and cardiac.
Very good. How do you balance your role as a CEO with your advisory positions that you currently maintain as well?
Well, I'm trying to shed some of the advisory positions, truth be told. I'm finding that, being a CEO is very invigorating, a lot of fun, but it's a 24/7, 365 job. And as much as I'd like to help other biotech companies at the University of Nevada, Reno, I to the extent that I can, I make time for them, but I'm dialing back on that right now.
Oh. Well, it is one of those things as well that, you're in that fundraising cycle now. And then I do feel like, for the CEOs that I've advised as well, that season of raising funds just doesn't end until you hit the target that you're trying to hit, right? Because you never know, when you might need the next round as well. So it very much becomes a full-time job as well. I agree with you, but there's plenty of people that are on the podcast that also come on and say, look, I divide my time here and there. And yeah, they sort of, spend a lot of time in other capacities as well. So very interesting to hear your level of focus as well.
Well, I do keep my position as an entrepreneur in residence at the University of Nevada because I really want to give back. I give lectures there. And I think in San Francisco, San Diego, and Massachusetts, other biotech hubs, there's a general understanding that the basic research leads to something on the market in a very entrepreneurial flair. I think University of Nevada is really changing in that they've got about 200 million in NIH grants over the last 10 years. It's done some really good basic research, and I kind of think grants are almost like crack cocaine with these researchers because once you get hooked on them and you're finding your lab, everything seems to be fine. But you really do need to, for the benefit of patients, and then also to deliver license fees back to the university, you need to get these drugs on the market. And that's where I think I've been added value to University of Nevada, Reno, and will continue to do so.
Yeah, I think it's my view, at least in terms of whether you're a drug company or a diagnostic company or even a medical device company that's out there, the only way to really sort of accelerate your ability to hit it to, head to market is really to get some sort of private funding, right? So whether it's through a VC or it's through a private equity firm or whatever, it definitely does boost organizations, so that they can move forward with the things that they need to move forward with, and then hopefully bring new things to market faster. Grants, from my perspective, are great to have. Like I said, they can be a survival mechanism whenever you're currently trying to figure out, okay, so exactly how do I position this thing so that it's attractive enough for an outside investor to want to come on. But it in terms of actual delivery of a commercial product, it's very hard to see how somebody's going to make it through 20 years of grants to bring a product to market whenever somebody else, most likely along that same pathway, is going to find a way to get private funding and accelerate past you at some point.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I think the NIH and especially their seed group that focuses on entrepreneuring and advancing programs is really important, and they've been very, very helpful. But once you get into the valley of death, and you've got all your relatively inexpensive bench small animal studies done and in vitro and in silico studies done, when you start getting into non-human primates, and we're talking $1 to $2 million for just a basic PK/PD study, then it starts to get into real money. And like NIH Seed they have a commercialization program where you can get $1 million every year for 3 years, and that sounds like a lot of money, and it goes pretty quickly. So,
Yeah.
to your point, you do need private investments. One of the things I didn't find out until recently is when we were at Amgen in the early days, there was this saying that said, "Don't look at the checkbook when you write the check." And I always thought, well, that's a little odd. What, and they basically said, listen, spend wisely, do your work. We won't micromanage you, and, go and do great things. Right. Well, I didn't find out until a couple months ago that George Rathman had a sugar daddy that would, whenever he needed a $50 million or so, he'd just, pick up the phone and get another 50 million. And I long, that would be really great. Wouldn't that be awesome to have that? But that's probably a once in a lifetime for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
to your point, I think the family, what I'm finding is that I'm getting a lot of traction with the private family and the private equity funds. And
Yeah.
there's quite a few things in the hopper right now. And I think we've got some good momentum, and things are happening.
Yeah, I feel like family office with a passion behind a specific whatever it might be can definitely help out companies in this space as well. And it's always finding that matching ability. And you were telling me before we got started that you just got back from JP Morgan as well. And so yeah, I mean, hopefully more of those conversations happen there as well.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say to entrepreneurs is you never know when things are going to resonate, and you're going to like. I was at a pitch competition that was with Freedom Fest down in Vegas a while back, and the three judges were Steve Forbes from Forbes magazine, John Mackey, who started Whole Foods, and Rob Arnault, who's CEO of Research Associates that advises PIMCO funds. Right, he's a quant guy. And I ended up taking third, and I'm kind of scratching my head because I think I probably had a better presentation, et cetera. And I get a call from Rob Arnault, or he reaches out like a week afterwards, and he's like, I don't know what those other guys were thinking, but you were the best. I know I'm bragging a little bit here, but more importantly, Rob said, I believe in what you're doing, and I'd like to write you a check.
Awesome.
And I hadn't anticipated that. And so just get out there, raise the awareness of your product, focus on the patient, and good things will happen eventually.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I know that there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs that struggle from time to time with, really, should I just continue this, or is this at the end of the day just not ever going to make it, right? And there's got to be that continued nagging, in the back of your mind, and so having other entrepreneurs say, no, continue to be relentless and focus and keep moving forward. It's worth it in the end.
You know what really helps, Don, is having a supportive spouse. She's been great. It's been 3 years without a salary. I got three kids in college, all out of state, and the bills add up a little bit. But she's been. I think she sees how much joy and passion I get out of it, and how fulfilling it is for me, and that makes my life better and our lives better. And my wife Kendall's really awesome. Can't say enough about her.
Well, thank you for sharing that as well.